Hello and welcome to my craft room. It's Rhoda. Today I'm going to show you something special. I made it for my bud. He's my genealogy buddy, Zach. And he's not going to see this until, it won't post until after we've left for our trip, which is on Friday. So he won't get to see it on the sly. I did show him a little sneaky peek. Anyhow, I did a lot of things that has to do with him. And you can see the old pen. We're into the genealogy. So the old type of writing we see in the courthouse documents are made with these type of pens. I said it was unforgettable. He's into taking photos. So I have a negative strip here behind there. He liked this from when I did my drawing for the 500 subscribers. And that was about the only one I had left. I did a tab bound for him. He did like that, so that's been done. And I screwed up because this was supposed to be the trees. And it ended up being the books, which, you know, the old books are what we get to see a lot too. See, the books are on the inside of this one. Whoopsie. So anyhow, I've got this. We're into anything old, antique-y. So I've got the old phone here and the phone directory over there. I figured this just be something he could write on. It was just a simple little printout. And I've got the, this has a tuck over here with the old clocks on it. And then it's made with a lot of my tea-dye paper. Here I had some washi tape that was like the film strip. So I put it here. And then I also put it here because it reminded me of the train track. I don't know if you remember this one. I did this as a Caroline's Craftry challenge. And he saw me do it and he said, "Oh, I like that one." So I said, "Oh, you'll be seeing it soon." And I did a little thing here. It's Kermit to Dingus. Kermit is where we go to do our researching and stuff. And then Dingus is one of the places he's doing the cemetery books for. But this was a belly band with a tea bag on it to make it look old. And I did some stamping. And then it had old silverware on the back side of it. But he could put anything he wants to in it. And over where we go, there's trains everywhere. And we also go to the train tunnels and stuff like that. I wish I had a train tunnel here, but I don't know. I might have time to put a tunnel there before I leave. Got a few days. Here I have a map, and it's got our area we go to. Marbone Creek is one of the ones that we've already done. And Kermit's down here. And then we're now doing Jenny's Creek, which is this one. And so it's just a big journal card. And it's just stuck in some little cast off I had, and I've decorated it up a little bit. And we have more washi over here on the left. It's got some old advertisements and stuff on it. And he likes anything gruesome. So here's an old little spider and a butterfly. I had these from when I did a, it was my grimoires, I guess you'd call it. And I have just a few little tags in here. Got little bottles of poison and stuff on it. And we see the mushrooms all the time when we're out and about. And that's one of those Tim Holtz, what do they call them? It's not journal cards. Something cards. Here I did a video on this. This was my specimen slide. And you can see through it. It's I don't know if you can see it at a certain angle there where the light is coming through. But it was just washi tape back to back on a piece of clear packaging. And I got Just Another Day here. And here's the trees. That has to do with where we're at. We're in the trees. I'm telling you, it's woods, forest, whatever you want to call it. I did a clear acetate window there because I didn't want to cover that up. So that worked well. And I put a little piece of washi there so I knew the difference. And that's another just journal card for him to write on. Since some of these pages you couldn't write on them, I wanted him to be able to. I did a little bit of sewing. So you'll see some of the pages I sewed together. This here had to do with trains. It's one of the Tim Holtz 8x8 packs. And, you know, I thought it'd be something different. This was where I was doing, you'll see it in here in the next page or two. I was cutting out a window for a slide. I called it a film strip slide. And these were the pieces I cut out. So I used them here on the edge of the page like a tuck. And I thought that turned out really cute. I just glued a little bead, a thick bead right there, and put them down. And it holds it great. So that's an idea if you've got any little cast-offs. This was a piece I printed incorrectly on a piece of paper, and I just backed it on a stronger piece. And moths and dragonflies. So I'll put this in here. And then here is one of those pockets that wraps the page. It was one of the Roxy's weekly challenges. And so I just put a door behind each one. An old door for a journal card. And I like that challenge. It was very interesting. You know, it was a useful item for one. Plus we do the natural history that had to do with it. This was a piece I made way back when. I made it as a belly band where you can put something behind it. This was a piece of like that handmade paper I've had for ages. I have no idea where I got it. I've about used it all up. But it had leaves on it. Now these are some kind of little film strip pieces I got. And I went and put a piece of the little acetate or packaging in there and a piece of tea bag with a stamp on it. And that's all I did. And then I punched these out and I stamped this with white ink of some kind. I'm trying to remember what I used. It had to be a pigment ink though to go onto this here because it's got like a texture to it. But then I backed it on the black card. It turned out really nice. I liked it. I figured he would too. He's into the specimen-y looking thing. So this was a piece from a steampunk pack I have. And I put this on it because it reminds me of a GPS. We go to all the cemeteries over there. And we decided on like the second cemetery book we needed to do GPS readings just in case our descriptions, you know, take a left at the second tree, you know, it's not going to work. So anyhow, so we started doing GPS. This is one of those cards, and I like the bird nest there, so I stuck that in there for him. And this was another older piece. This is a paper towel roll. And what it was is I made it a double pocket. There's a pocket on either end. It's not that he could probably write on it, you know, because it's got like a car on that side and it's really dark on the back. But it was something cute. See if I can get that back in there. And this little guy, he was like a car salesman, I guess. It was a really big page. But I took it to be like maybe a hearse, and he's the undertaker. Because we deal with the cemetery, so we deal with the funeral homes and all that kind of thing. So that's what I did. I took my Tim Holtz stamp pad over there. It has a stamp set. It's got, I think, 6 different things, and they're mostly in here. But caskets and burial robes and coffins. Oh my. So that gets put in here, and he can write on the back. This page here was done with tea bags. I don't know if you've ever laid tea bags on a piece of paper. I usually will do it outside. I'll layer them up, you know. And it has a really cool effect. The grounds also do the same thing. This is one of those hidden paper clips. And here's an old hutch. His grandma used to use an old hutch like this. I think they call them Hoosier cabinets. So, oh, and here is the beginning. You know, the boy is gruesome. He loves any of these shoot-'em-up things we find in the papers. And so this is the bullet hole. So I made him a bullet hole. And it's like several layers. It's got a hole through it. So here's the second layer. And I've got a little bird on just a little piece of paper here that he can write as a journal card. But I may need to back that little birdie. Let me stick him out. he's kind of delicate. I need to fix him. Okay, here's the second one. This is the tea ground side. Now, that's what happens when you do tea grounds on just regular paper almost. It's cool. I just love it. I'm going to do a grungy journal, and it's going to have that in there. And then I just kind of decorated a little bit around this one. And here's what you see through there. You see the spider. See? I thought that was kind of neat. I've done one of these before in another one of my journals, and there's a little dangle at the top of the butter, or the hidden paper clip. Here was just a little cluster, just a simple thing. Now, I made this a long time ago. I saw it on Scrapbooking with Miss E. And it was neat. And I have to get this paper pad. It was a Mente junk paper pad. And it had this old magnifying glass. And I put, what do you call that? Glossy accents. I don't know if you can see them. I put glossy accents in there. And what I had to do is I had these from, I think, that same thing. And I cut little butterflies and put on here. And then I enlarged the butterfly so it looked like it was actually magnified. You know, fiddly, but that's me. So this is actually a little tag. It comes out. And I don't know if I glued, yeah, I'm supposed to, yeah. It is a belly band also. But it also holds a little tag. So that's the way this works. And then I just got this. It looked like a card catalog or like numbers for something that we would deal with in the cemetery books or the, courthouse books, that kind of thing. There's one of those leaves on that handmade paper. And here I just put this down because you couldn't write on this paper really. So I put this from the steampunk set I've got. And this is one of the papers that I stamped on with his correspondence. I think it's Tim Holt's correspondence. I just went all over that page. And I kept my copies. And so I'll copy them out every once in a while on cardstock and use them as journal cards. And then I have a special delivery down here with a book plate from my porch prints. And I actually have little brads in there for nails. Up here I just did postal card, and the other side has about the same thing. I just cut it in half and made it where it would fit in both sides. Let's see, that one's just a little tighter, but I think I can get it back in there. It may be where I might want to cut it down. I don't know. Here is a ticket, because we're always doing trains or different things with tickets. There's a cutoff of a map, and I just used it here. This was a washi we made on Scrapbooking with me one time. It's on a piece of vellum, and you just made it up, and then you were able to rip it at places to use it throughout your books. And I just made it where it had a little stick out tassel there. And this was one of my coffee grungy pages. I need to do more like that. Now this, you'll see where I cut this off of in a little bit. But I just used that little piece right there. And I could put that in there like that. Or I could do it at an angle. But he likes to photograph things. And we both do. We'll go and do a lot of photographs at the courthouse instead of making copies. And then we do it at the cemeteries as well. And there's also a piece of washi here with that on it. So I thought that had to do very personally with him. And then here is a piece from Tim Holt's 8x8 paper pad. That is a courthouse. And has all kinds of stuff in it. Looks like where somebody owes somebody something. I don't know. But I made it a magnet because you can write on it inside. And then it just goes back over that like there, and snaps together. And he can actually tuck things in there as well with this magnet. Here was some of my baked papers. I loved how that turned out. Here is a piece, since we do the family tree, this is a piece that will actually fold out, and he can write in whatever he wants to here. He could write on it. He could put pictures on it. I wasn't quite sure what direction to go with. And then he's got the back side as well. He might put little snapshot photos or wallet size photos in here, and then the name out beside it. You know, just something. Give him an idea of something to do. Oh, that fell. These are some old tickets for theaters. I can't say that's something we actually do, but this is a window from an envelope, and I decorated it up, and then this is just like a little dangle that goes on it, and I have to put it in here to where it hangs out, just so it wouldn't bulk up the book. Here's another one of my my tea grounds. And here is my, what did I call this thing? A double tag belly band. I think that might be what it is. Now here's the piece of paper that I messed up earlier, and I showed you I made a tuck out of it. Because we're going through the newspapers. That's what we're going to do Friday. We're stopping at the Charleston complex and looking through microfilm at all these old newspapers. So that had to do with everything we mess with. And it's just white on the back, so he can get in there and do whatever he wants to with it. Write a few notes. He could write under this. I like this because it had all these numbers on it. Oh, it's even more numbers on that side. Let's do it that way. But I just did a video on this, the double tag. And here is a piece that was one of the Roxy's weekly challenges that I did do it a little differently. This is another one of the journal card. It's a pocket back here is what it is. This thing actually wraps around the page. So you got a pocket on both sides. There's actually a small pocket down here. I forgot to put anything. Oh no, I put this in it. There we go. And then over here, I tucked a little door under two more of those banners that were scraps. And around here, it actually has a little tuck in behind the boy. I believe that's how I made it. Yeah. You can actually tuck a little bit of something in here. And I thought of this as him and his grandma. He thought the world of his grandma, and she was really close to him. And he got to talk about the family history with her. He started really early. And the thing was, once she passed, they started seeing cardinals everywhere. And it's said that a cardinal is a harbinger of a dearly departed loved one. And I also need to back that on something, so I'm going to leave that out as well. But I thought that was nice to put those two together. I didn't put anything back here yet, so I don't know. I may have to throw something in there. Oh, here's the film strip thing. Now, I just made this from some scrap I had over in my bucket, but there was a page in the 8x8 with all these little photos, wallet size. So I made a little window in each one of these, and then I tucked my little persons in there, and they look through. And I put type slide. It was one of those Tim Holtz things on one of the book plates. Now here, we went to the courthouse. We did not break these off ourselves. These fell out of the actual old deed books or marriage books or whatever. And he kept them for me and gave them to me. And I said, you know, I'll take them home and put them in a pile, and I'll figure out something to do with them. Well, what happened is I had extras of these tabs. And so I actually put them down in there and glued them. And then I glued the tab on there. And it made it like a tab. And you can see it from the opposite side as well. Here I have, this is another one of the Roxy's creation items. And I put this in here. This is about books, booksellers and stationery. And it's just one of, they call it a matchbook. And it's just got scrap pages and stuff in it. And I did stenciling in here. And I put two brads in and closed it up. Instead of doing the glue technique, there's a glue technique you can do as well. And it goes together, and I just tucked it right back in here. And this little lady here is the tuck part of this. And she is supposed to be a typist or something, or at the library, I'm not sure. And I had one little piece that didn't have anything that I could glue it into one of the pockets with, so it went over here. Now here is the other part of that Roxy's weekly challenge. And this guy, he's a naturalist, and he's a collector of specimens, and he's a bookseller, all that kind of good stuff. So This is actually a little book that was in one of the Tim Holtz, and I have in the beginning and the end. And then this flips open, and you have another typist in here. I think the lady on the back is a librarian, because we go to the libraries all the time. And then over here, she's a typist, and a lot of the things we deal with have to do with typing. Because there's quite a few of the deed books that have type information in them. Now this here, I'm not going to pull it out all the way, but it's just a journal card for the inside, and it's very plain. It just has a few things on it, like that book plate. But that's all there is there. Here I have something from one of the kits I printed out, and I put it on another one of those little wedge pieces. Check that out. If you don't have much room, or you don't want to cover up a lot of room, you just put like something like that, like a little cast off, and it does a wonderful job. Now here is back where this is Be Strong. I did these little layered kind of banner tag things, and I made it a tuck for a little journal card here. And it has a little bead on it with some paper clip. And over here, we go to some old buildings and things that are, you know, or we read about them, that are just like total history. There's no help for them. But what this is, it's like a boxed up doorway where you can't get in it. So I made it a tuck for this. And I made it real grungy looking. I put some stamped areas on there, and I made the condemned sign. I think I got that from a yellow envelope somebody sent me, like a legal envelope. And then I had 2 boards that I cut out of one of my other paper pads, and I put 2 brads in it, or 4 brads for nails. And I think I have a video on this a while back. So, I mean, I'm sure I have something there somewhere for somebody to look at if they wanted to go and figure out how to make those. This was some of my grungy tags and things from just using scrappers, more of that yellow envelope, and this and that, and then rub-ons and stamps. I had all kinds of stuff I was using. I think that was another Roxy challenge. And I put the trees here, of course, because we're in the trees. Now this guy, he is the pharmacist. Now, Zach went to school. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm down. Up too far. Zach went to school for nursing. He is an RN. And I'm sure he's smart enough to be a pharmacist. So who knows? One day he may go into that. So I wanted to make sure I put this here since he dispenses medicines. And it was just an old frame I had. And then this was part of the Tim Holtz pack. And I did stamping on there. And then this is one of the portrait dolls. And over here I've got a couple more of those tags. This has hemlock on it, and that one's premium. That could be moonshine for all we know, but it's got a skull and crossbones. It still holds true though. And then this had the Red Cross and drugstore druggist down here. I love that stamp set. Here was another little bit of washi tape, and I think it has some ointments and a few other bottles on here, so I thought that would work. Here we go. We're finally to the page. Okay, we are into the cemeteries. All right, so what we've got here, I took these 2 pieces that look like a cemetery stone. It could be used as journal cards or whatever. So I put them down here and tucked them in next door. And then we got the grave. And this is one of the ideas I need to show. I had all kinds of ideas for this type of thing. I call it a dimensional pocket. I haven't shown this yet, but I will when I get back from my vacation. I will start this and display the different ways that I was going to use it. But it's just where you rip out or cut out or whatever the inside of a piece of paper. And see, this one had the little skeleton on it, so I wanted to make sure he stayed on there. And then I just inked the edges. And it's glued down, I think, only on the outside. And with this casket, it worked perfect, where you just tucked it into the top and the bottom. And boom, it's there. It looks like it's buried in the dirt. That's what I was going for. He will love that. He will love that. We went to this one cemetery over there, and we have been told stories that they have had to dig a grave 3 times because they kept hitting old graves that just weren't marked. And so they just had to stop and bury it back again, go over to another spot and start digging, and they hit another grave. Oh, it's horrible. This is a cemetery that has half of them with only rocks. There's no names, no initials, nothing. Just rocks. So here's just a little saying that I made up in a cluster. Got a little dragonfly and stuff. And it says, be not afraid of going slowly, but only afraid of standing still. In a Chinese proverb. I thought that was kind of quaint for him. Now here's just a bunch of trees. And I had this thing of the stickers. Now he could use that through here if he'd like to use this for a genealogy book or a trip book of his adventures when he come over to West Virginia, when we piddling around, whatever. So I really liked how this turned out, and I wanted to thank everybody for watching, and I hope you got some ideas for your own kind of genealogy trip book or research book to keep your family history in. Thank you for coming, all my subscribers and watchers, and I will get back with you again soon. Bye bye.